Well, Star Wars Celebration is just a little over a month away, so I think it's time that I start speculating again. Let's talk about some animated series and what we could see. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars On High. Thank you for stopping by. We got Star Wars Celebration coming up in just a little over a month, and all of the panels have been officially announced and revealed, and it got me thinking, what are we going to be seeing? Because a lot of the panels don't look all that exciting to me personally, but I'm going to save all that for another video. I actually wanted to talk about the potential animated series that we could be seeing next, because it's been sitting in my head for a while. Unless I gaslit myself with this knowledge, I am under the impression that there are at least 2 animated series that are currently in the works at Lucasfilm. I have nothing to back that up with, but I know they love their animated shows, but I don't know about 2. It may be just 1. I really got drawn to one tweet by Brooks Tweets on Twitter. Thank you for the permission to use that, because it gave me a really interesting thought process. But they retweeted the official Star Wars page that showed that all the panels had been updated, and they put in a screenshot showing that Lucasfilm's Animation's 20th anniversary. So we get to join Dave Filoni and Athena Portillo as we celebrate 20 years of Lucasfilm Animation's critically acclaimed stories and beloved characters, including a sneak peek at what's to come. And with that, they said, if they announce a new animated show, what time period do you want it to be in? Now, my initial tweet, at least at me looking back on it, it does seem it's like a little rough. Like, I'm a little tired of it, because I ended up saying, what I want is something set in the High or Old Republic. What we will probably get is something set between episodes 6 and 7, seeing as they can't seem to leave that era. And that's really how I feel about it right now. Since the Disney buyout, they really wanted to start right after 6, which makes sense. I'm not including 7, 8, and 9 in here, but a lot of the books and a lot of the source material that we're getting now is stuck in a weird loop between 6 and 7 and 3 and 4. We really can't seem to expand anywhere else outside of that range. No, don't get me wrong. We have the High Republic. I love the High Republic. I also love the Acolyte because it was fresh new stories. But this, I understand it. It's a big era. There's a lot of gaps to fill. I'm getting a little bored. I'm wanting to see what happens next. But then I really went back and thought about it and, hammered down animated series. What would I actually like to see? And truly, it would probably be something set in the High Republic or the Old Republic. The High Republic is such a fantastic era for Star Wars storytelling. We've seen so many different characters, so many different stories take place between the books and the comics right now. I think it's a fantastic run, and I'm very sad that it's coming to a close. We also had The Acolyte. Well, I know a lot of people do not like. I personally loved. It was one of my favorites because it had new locations, new characters, new story. The only downside to it, in my eyes, is that we know what happens next. We know where it's all going to lead to, and that is, of course, the entire Skywalker saga, which is the one thing I'm trying to avoid with these ideas because I already know that's going to happen. I want to know what happens next. Now, as far as animated series go, we do already have one animated series set in the High Republic, The Young Jedi Adventures, but that is exclusively for kids. However, I have been told that there's a lot of lessons that adults can take away from it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and try that out yet. But there's so many different stories you could tell. We could tell the fight against the Nameless along with the Nile. I think that could be a lot of action in there, and I think the animation would really fit with that type of storytelling. Alternatively, the Old Republic is something I think we've been avoiding for far too long, and I think it's time we went back to it. I was talking to a few people at work about this months ago because, Star Wars is always the topic for discussion. The Old Republic is such a fun era. My only issue with it is that I don't know if a movie or a trilogy or a show could do it justice. And I say that because the conflict that happens throughout the Old Republic spans thousands of years. There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of side stories. It's really hard to get a grasp on everything happening and tell a story properly. At least I think so. I always thought that if we were going to do an Old Republic show, I would like it to be done in a style of Game of Thrones. Not as far as the gore and the ridiculousness that is that show, but more so the way they were able to tell multiple stories and go back and forth and have everything intersect, but it also had that high budget quality, something that an HBO production should be able to do, which I think is pretty funny considering when we had, what was it called, Star Wars Underworld. It was that initial TV series that George Lucas was trying to start up. They were trying to partner with HBO to do that because they said it was going to cost them like $40 million an episode, which back then was a lot of money. But I think that's prime storytelling material, and I think it's time. We've had so many little hints throughout the movies, the comics, the books, and I know we'll get to it eventually. They've really just been leaving a big trail of breadcrumbs and teasing us every step of the way, but I think it'd be the perfect time to do it. Tell the story of Malak and Revan. Have that in a Clone Wars animated style. Because of the way we were able to pull off such big battles on the screen for Clone Wars, I think it would translate perfectly to the Old Republic era, regardless of where you want to set it. Whether it's, with Revan and Malak or the Sith Triumvirate, or hell, even go into the Old Republic and start doing Darth Malgus. Like, there's a lot of story to be told there, and I think the best way to get an overall result that most people would like would be to do it animated. You can't really worry about screwing it up. You have a budget, you can fix things, just the same way we did with the Clone Wars. I think that would be a safe bet. Would I like it to be live action? Of course, but we're talking about animated here. So Old Republic animated would be great, High Republic animated would be great, but I truly think we're going to get some show that's going to be set between episodes 6 and 7. We have a monstrous amount of books that are covering that span right now, but there is a pretty big gap between episode 6 and 7. It's about 27 years. And I know we have Star Wars Resistance, which is an animated show set between 6 and 7. However, it takes place 6 months before episode 7. So we can go back a little bit. We can go maybe 10 years after, maybe 15 years after. Something that's going to probably take place after the events of the Mandoverse and tell a continuating story. Probably something, leading to the Battle of Jakku would be kind of nice if we're really going to have to stick with that era. But there's really a lot we still need to see to get everything tied together so we can have it all prepped for the beginning of episode 7. Now, if I want to go way out of the wheelhouse, because I can give you a theory that'll never happen because I've only been right one time and it was about the episode Night from the Acolyte, so, I have a pretty bad track record so far of all my theories, but I would love an animated show set after episode 9. Let's start getting the ball rolling on what's coming next. Like I said, one of the issues I would have with old, high, or between 6 and 7 animated series is we know what happens in the long run. We know the Old Republic gets to the High Republic, gets the prequels. We know episode 6 to episode 7 to 9. We know what's going to be happening, but post 9, we don't know. We don't know exactly what the story's going to be. We don't know what the villain aspect is going to be like. We don't know what the conflicts are going to be, what characters are going to be involved. We know we might get a Rey movie. So what's the best thing to do to tie into a new movie? Give us a new animated series set post 9 but before the Rey movie. I think that would be a safe bet and something that would actually be a lot of fun. We can meet a lot of new characters alongside ones we already know, except we won't know what's happening. We won't know what's coming next. And I think that is the draw that I personally have to it, because I'm interested in the new things and I want to be able to just guess and not think, okay, this guy is, Snoke, and Palpatine's actually this guy, and also that alien is Rey's mom. I don't want to end up having to speculate throughout the whole show. I just want to watch it and experience a new era with a fresh canvas and have no idea of what's going to happen, and then maybe start tying things together later. I think that would be the best take. But I don't know, I could sit here and ramble for hours. I'm trying to slow myself down, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Obviously, we know we're going to have at least one animated show. Again, I don't know where I got the notion that there are 2 in production. I swear I heard that somewhere. I know I'm not gaslighting myself, but, correct me in the comments. Regardless, we get 1 animated series, we get 2 animated series. Which ones would you want? Do you want something in the Old Republic? Do you want something post 9? Are you happy between 6 and 7? Or do you want another Darth Vader show? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. As always, thank you to everyone who stuck around to this point in the video, and we hope to see you again very soon.